I'm Mallory.
And I'm Laura.
And we are here again on the beautiful campus of Meridian to talk to you about what's just been going on, what's on our minds. So Laura, I wanted to tell you, I've been thinking about your daughter recently, and like kids in general. It's summertime. So, most of the time, what do kids do in the summer? They have summer camps, they, go to beaches and things like that. So I wanted to kind of check in and see, like, how is she? What's been going on?
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. She's been lucky. There's a summer camp that she goes to every year that has gone virtual. And so she's going to be doing that on Zoom, and it's going to go for 2 weeks instead of one. So she's kind of excited about the extra time.
Yeah.
And then, we've just been sort of doing what we can, staying socially distant, and, not much is really going to change between what the end of the school year looked like and what summer looks like this year, unfortunately.
Yeah. That's good to hear. It's kind of cool to hear that things are going virtual. How is she, like, emotionally? Have you asked her, like, how she's been feeling about changes, and especially since summer's coming up? Like, how actually is she?
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up, because that's been a new conversation that did have to come up with summer, right? So so we were hit with a little bit of a surprise, because we sort of thought we had a lot of these conversations back in March, and then you're absolutely right, summer hit, and summer looks different for kids, so the thoughts and the emotions looked different. So we ended up having to rehab a lot of conversations that we'd had before.
Yeah, I feel like, have those conversations, like, this time around, have they been different? Like, compared to when the pandemic first started, right? I feel like there was this one-sided conversation where, parents had to tell their children, like, what's actually been going on, like the logistics, like, this is a pandemic, we have to wear masks and things like that. But, is the conversation, does it sound different this time?
It does, and that's a part that I'm struggling with, and I think a lot of moms are struggling. You're absolutely right. In the beginning, it was one-way communication. In the beginning, there was so much happening. Even when we first started these videos, the first few weeks, we would be like, well, a lot happened this week, right? So there was new information and new things to communicate. So there was a lot of telling. And now, as we're settling sort of into what life looks like right now, and realizing that this is a little bit longer term than we intended, now it's more listening. And that's been hard, because as a mom, I want to give her the solutions. I want to fix it, right? And I can't. So that's sort of where we are right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any advice about that.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I feel like, parents, I'm not a parent myself, but I think parents want to be fixers, right? And they want to give solutions, but I think we have to remember that active listening is the same for children as it is, when we have conversations with adults.
That's
so
so
it's
true.
like, maybe now is the time, since it's summer, since the conversation is they're having to start back up again because of summer with children. Maybe this time, instead of maybe fixing and having solutions, maybe we, and I say we as in parents, right? Maybe we talk to children in more of like an active listening sort of view. Maybe it's more like, how are you? How are you feeling? Maybe it's sitting with the child and just talking about emotions and checking in, rather than having a solution. We don't always have solutions. We don't always have to have solutions either,
You're so right, because, when people ask me, like, how is she doing? I say, well, she's doing great. And I base that answer on what I'm observing, right?
Yeah.
She's doing great because I'm seeing this, this, and this. And to me, that equals great, right?
Yeah.
But really just asking her, I think there's a huge value in asking her, how really are you doing? Because kids are resilient, and I think we forget that. I think that kids are going to operate in the box that we give them, right? So if this is the box she has, she's going to make the best of it, and it doesn't necessarily mean she's okay.
Right.
So I think you're right. I think we need to ask our kids how they're feeling, but even more than that, I think we have to be prepared to hear the answer. We have to know that the answer may not be that they're doing great.
Right.
And that if that is the answer, you know, and this is so hard for us moms, that if that is the answer, you know, it can just be like, well, I'm sorry, and that stinks, and I'm here for you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a solution, because sometimes there isn't one.
Yeah. It's okay to not be okay. And it's okay to not have
and we hear
a
that
solution.
so much, but this is literally what it looks like in practice, right? And teaching them at a young age that it's okay to not be okay, and what that phrase actually looks like in action, I think benefits them now and in adulthood and in the future.
Yeah, I think that's so true. And you know, talking about all of this, just keep in mind, like, if things get to be too much for, you know, yourselves as adults, but also for your children, Meridian is still open. So we haven't really talked about like children outpatient. We do have services for children. So, you know, if you notice that your child is really showing signs of anxiety, or that's really affecting their kind of day-to-day, you could call us and set up an appointment for yourself or for them. That is an option.
And I think that's important, because our clinicians were in the schools, right?
Right.
So that was a resource that was available to very many of you and your children, that for the last few months at the end of school wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
So I think just reminding you guys that it is still there, it's just here. And we do have telehealth and in-person appointments as well. So give us a call at 352-374-5600. You can always ask to talk to our Access Center if you're not sure where, or you can ask to talk to Children's Outpatient Services.
Yeah.
So we hope you guys have a great holiday weekend. Be safe and enjoy, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.